Welcome to In the House. Glad to have Representative Mike Clampitt back with us, District 119, Swain, Transylvania, I believe Haywood counties. And Representative Clampitt, welcome. You look really nice today with the bow tie.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, we got a full day going today, I do believe. So we're going to hop on this here and then hop on something else. So
yeah, you're a busy man. So I appreciate you taking time to join us today. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you about before we get into today's topic is I've been down here quite a while, and every session to me takes on its own personality. This one has been like really fast. Do you like the pace? Would you rather it be a little slower, or how do you feel?
it's okay. I'd rather we take a little shorter step than the long stride.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it sure has gotten a lot done in a short period of time this session, and I think you guys are doing a great job, and I appreciate all that you are doing for your well, for the state, but mostly for your district and your constituents, and that's what we're here to talk about today. The North Carolina Department of Vital Records. Now, before we get into your specific situation, I kind of wondered, what does Vital Records do? And the word vital, right, implies that it's important. So I went on their website, and on my phone here, it's expedited mail service been temporarily suspended as of January 10th, 22. Walk-in certificate services available by appointment only, not accepting appointments for adoptions. And it goes on and on with things here that looks like impediments to getting good service. I don't know if this is because they don't have enough people working there, or if there's just not a customer service mentality. But you're here today to talk to us about how you've been trying to serve your constituents and running into some roadblocks.
Yes, sir. And let me give you a bit of history with Vital Records that I personally have. When I was here in 1718, I had an individual from home that needed a vital record, a death certificate for a family member. And what had happened, two numbers, the Social Security number were reversed, whatever you want to call it. And he had been making contact with them. And at that time, they would respond by phone call or email. And they were giving him the process of getting that number fixed so that he could pursue the issues with the family debt and stuff like that. The thing is, they wanted to incur another debt for that kind of correction when it wasn't anything he did not do or do that caused it. Contacted my office. I went. I tried to talk to him. Phone or email didn't work. So I'm a hands-on kind of guy. I show up down there and I go in with the information and I said, got a problem, and I identified the problem. And this lady went through the same stuff that he had told me that they had told him. And I said, no, that's unacceptable. I said, I'm going to stay here today until closing, until you get this rectified. I made a promise to him I would bring that home tonight. Unknown to me, my car died out. I had parked outside, and I ended up buying another car that day, and I got my paperwork to drive home that night. He got his paperwork. It was my first experience with Vital Records, and I've got to say I was very displeased. Okay, let's jump to 2020, COVID, blah, 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 and now in 23. So during the COVID, I had another lady, her husband died in March of that year. And with that being said, this was June of that year, and they would not respond to the funeral home calls, her calls, emails, or otherwise. So I asked her to give me the pertinent information that I would personally walk down. So sure enough, I walked down to Vital Records again. It's within a few blocks here. You know where it's at.
Right.
Again, I'm a hands-on kind of guy. So I go down, walk up, the door says this building is closed by word of the governor. No one allowed entry. Well, the door wasn't locked, so I grabbed the door and walked in. As soon as I did, we have good security here. And the young lady, sergeant, informed me I could not enter, that they didn't allow people in the building. And first of all, said the governor doesn't have enforcement powers. And number two, I'm not people. I said, yeah, what do you mean you're not people? I said, well, you see the big white building down the street. I'm in the legislature and I got a problem. I want to see a supervisor. Well, I waited, and this lady come down, and as we're talking, she interrupts me and goes, I know you. You've been here before. Yes, ma'am, I was here, and I told her when. She said, well, now I'm a supervisor, and give me 50 reasons of why they couldn't accommodate requests. And I said, well, ma'am, no disrespect. I was here before for the same exact reason. What did you do in those years before COVID? And no real response. So I said, well, I want this rectified and want it rectified today. I said, tell me what you need. And she told me, and I said, okay. Now you're going to answer my email when I get back to the office, blah, blah, blah. So get back to the office. I got the other information and I sent it down. No response. I walked back down to the office with a hard copy, and the same lady, sergeant, met me at the door. And I said, listen, I'm not going to brief you. I will just ask you to kindly make sure this lady gets that paperwork. I said, she won't answer my phone call or email. And I said, well, that night about 6:30, I get a call that says, yeah, we took care of it. Well, next morning, first thing I did was call that particular county's registered deed and says it's taken care of. No.
Oh boy.
Well, I'm getting ready to walk down there again. It ain't going to be a pretty sight this time. Turns out all this headache could have been avoided because all the registered deeds office in the state are direct, secure linked through the computer system to the vital records department to make corrections of numbers, changes, or anything else. And you don't have to do it in person. It don't cost. You don't have to go there. It gets better. This year, I have a constituent that calls and says, I need some adoption papers, birth records for my adopted kids. And they're telling me 4 to 5 months. I verified it. It said online it would be 4 to 5 months.
Can I interrupt you just a minute? What struck me was that in 2 different cases, you, as an elected official, right, with some clout in the state, walked down there and were really not treated, it doesn't sound like, with the decorum that one would expect. But what would an average citizen do? They couldn't have gotten a supervisor. They would have been thrown out of the building, most likely.
More than likely, yes. I will go with that. The week I went down this last time this year, they had just opened the building up the week before to where people could go in. The first thing I was asked when I walked in this time was, do you have an appointment? I said, don't need an appointment. What do you mean you don't need an appointment? The big white building down the streets where I work, I'm a legislator, and I want to see a supervisor.
Oh,
they made me wait an hour. I sat there an hour waiting on somebody to show up. And when she showed up, I said, I've got this email I sent you a week ago that nobody responded to. And I want a response today before the end of business today.
Now, this is the adoption.
This is adoption birth records. Again, local board registered deeds can get the same information. So the guy told me that he had called to make an appointment. He would drive to Raleigh and get it. And they said, we don't take appointments. Well, you're kidding. No. I said, okay. So I'm there. I tell the people. So I get back to the office from that day, and I forward the guy's email to DHSS and the liaisons and everybody involved and said, here's the guy's email, here's his problem. And if no one responds, and to him, I said, if no one responds by June the 5th, that was the next coming Monday, let me know. And I'll make a copy of this email and I'll go down there again. Friday afternoon, that would have been what, 5 to the 2nd of June.
Mm-hmm.
He calls me at 5:15 and says, you'll never guess what. Okay, lay it on me. They delivered my copies today at 5 o'clock. They called me yesterday and said it was being delivered by UPS, and I've got it. And if it hadn't been for you, and I'm not backslapping here, we wouldn't have got it. It boiled down to they didn't want me to come back down there on the 5th of June on that Monday. It's like this at 8 o'clock, because I come in here at 6:30 in the morning. 8 o'clock, I'd have been back down there.
Yeah.
We have a problem, and I'm not being disrespectful to any of our any state workers or anyone.
Right.
But some of the department heads, especially like here, have given the latitude to individuals to have other opportunities that other than constituent services. There's no reason they should put on the website that you need they need 4 or 5 months to process information. That is unrealistic. I know 911, we didn't answer a call and say, we'll be there after we finish dinner. I mean, and it's called vital records for a reason.
Yeah.
We need to have a little overhaul. And some, like I said, some of them, when you say you read on the site what their policy procedure, not taking appointments, etc. Some of this stuff, these people can't wait. You've got a death of a family member that was a breadwinner, and there's insurance issues, etc. They have to have that information, and they have to have it yesterday.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Line is Register of Deeds already has the capability, as well as the funeral homes, to notify vital records of this information. Why is it so difficult? And I'm not belittling or disenfranchising anyone, but it's like this. When I get a phone call on my phone or I get an email, especially legislative, I try to respond in a timely manner. But now if I'm going from last Thursday to today, out of town to meetings and stuff like that. Yeah, that may not sound like timely, but 4 months, give me a break. Rats and rabbits have babies quicker than that.
So why is it that the registers of deeds can't get this information from or to the vital records folks?
That's a question. I cannot answer that. I do not know. They do have direct secure contact via computer, and why it can't happen, I don't know. I mean, anyone in our state should be able to walk into any register of deeds office of whatever record they need from vital records, ask for it, and it should be electronically transmitted directly to that office, and it be a certified record.
You would think so in 2023.
Well, look at us right here. I never thought we'd be sitting and having an interview like this, and being able to Dick Tracy like on a watch. You know what I mean? Unbelievable.
Well, I want to bring up something, and I don't want it to be a touchy subject, but prior to 2012, there was the party that's in control of the executive branch was in control of the executive branch. And I was told that this sort of thing was not uncommon in some state agencies, particularly the Employment Security Division. Now, in 2012, Governor McCrory, he was able to put different people in place, and the turnaround in customer service that was experienced at the employment security folks, for example, was unbelievable. The response time, everything. It was run like it's supposed to be run. Now, since 2016, we have the current administration in place. I've heard from various constituents and liaisons that employment security is back to being, kind of like it was. Now you're telling me all of this about vital records. And I just, I hate to paint with a broad brush, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but it seems like there's a different mindset when it comes to serving people, customer service. And this is unacceptable, what you're describing.
It is unacceptable. And especially my career in the fire service, dealing in true emergencies, et cetera, house fires, heart attacks, et cetera. Time is the essence. The same applies to this vital records. That's why it's called that particular division's name. And I think a lot of times what you're saying is very true, and no disrespect of anyone, but I think issues occur and policies originate from the top down. And if there is that slackness or lack of commitment by anyone to take and follow up and attend to constituent services, that's the most important thing that any of us as a legislator, the House or the Senate, or any division of the state it does is constituent services. It upsets me that people have to wait to quote chase down a process and get told no 50, 11 times, as the saying goes, and then call my office. And I don't mind doing it. That's my job. That's what I do here, and I'm humbled and proud to be able to do it for people. But people, the citizens of North Carolina, deserve better, and they should have better, and they should have a state government that does run efficiently and effectively. Lean, mean working machine, if that's what you want to call it. But too many of the times we get bogged down in the bureaucratic. Well, it's got to go here, go there, or whatever. Like I said, I get involved sometimes in those email wars to where you get a one sentence email, et cetera, and they want an answer or whatever. Hell, pick the phone up and give me a phone call. That's it. It's simple as that. It takes less time to do that than do 50, 11 email questions back and forth. We can get more done that way. So, technology is nice, but we got a real problem. Too many people want to take and stretch it to the limit.
Yeah. Well, I know that your constituents, Representative Clampitt, appreciate what you do. I don't think I've ever heard, and I'm sure that you're not the only one, but I've never heard of a member of the House walking down to a state agency and camping out all day just to help one person. So I tip my hat to you. That's constituent service. That's why you were, voted in, and maybe people didn't realize it at the time, when they voted. But that's your, like you said, that's your job, and you're doing very well by the people that you represent. So I tip my hat to you.
Thank you. And it doesn't matter your politics. If you got an issue as a constituent, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, affiliated, whatever, I will take and attend to your issue as I would anybody's else's. I try to treat my constituents like I would my mom, my past mom, and like I said, Mom gave me a lot of encouragement. She has certain requests and demands on me that I'd like to think is maybe who I am today. And I've told my legislative assistant, if we don't get resolved from certain or any department, give me the address. I'll go find them and I'll find somebody to talk to.
Exactly. One last question. Is there anything that you can think of that as the legislature that you guys can do to kind of help these folks realize that, they need to provide better customer service? Or is there just a distinction, a separation between the executive and the legislative, and you really can't, make them help people better?
Well, I look at it from this aspect. Being a firefighter or legislator is not just a job, it's a commitment. And that's what I work by. What can we do? I can encourage the department and division heads to pretend that those constituents out there are their family members, and that what they're doing is to help their family and do the right thing. But I'm constantly trying to think of some way to make the system better, more efficient, and to be able to respond to people better with what it is, so they don't have to wait. And if I say wait to the last minute, me to be a last resort. You can come to me first if you want to, that's fine. But sometimes I'll ask, did you do that? But if not, most of the time it's people are absolutely unhinged to having been delayed and pushed around and dropped. And this is just the ones we know about. I wonder how many out there that we don't know about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, Representative Clampitt, I know you're busy. You got things to do today, so I'll let you go. But thank you very much for your time and for all that you're doing for your constituents and for the people of North Carolina. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Anytime. Feel free to give me a call.
All right, sir. Thank you.